done.
I told him like,
Out in Beagle County, people call it's still snowing out. People call them.
yeah, I don't see, I ain't like that.
Get on the road yet?
I'm not like that.
It's like, well, we did it 3 times. It's still snowing. We've got computer tracking on all the trucks. We know if they've been down the road or not.
Did you see the picture of like Wichita, Kansas, or somebody like that, like named their snow plows?
Yeah.
Like, did you see that? That was floating around the internet.
Sometimes they use like reindeer names or something.
They had very creative names. Let me see if I can find it.
We used to paint pictures on ours, like, I don't know, like on the
Like on the
blade, they
bucket?
paint like the abominable snowman face or something on there. They wouldn't last very long.
No.
The snow would tear it off. We had one, we used to give them to schools. We'd take the snow blades to schools and drop them off, and the art students would do
Okay,
it.
that's what I'm asking.
And like West Vigo, they used like ceramic paint or something. It was on there for like years. It said, yeah, it never did come off.
It wasn't acrylic.
Yeah, they used something pretty good paint.
I thought I screenshotted it, but I can't find it. But they came up with like really clever like snow names.
Vice President's gonna
You might go ask Ashley. I don't know.
know that, don't
Do we know who's
Rick
gonna
didn't know.
run? Is Rick gonna run for election?
we? Is it,
He said he didn't care. That he was
well, what are you guys thinking then?
he didn't mind us. I mean, honestly, we all work for it. And you know, it's easy thing, so.
I like his voice. I don't think it would do Brenda any good to get in the door over there. I don't think so.
Okay, well then I'd say leave things alone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, you know, because he's gonna say, like, well, there's got to be the top person, or I ain't dealing with it. You know, from the bottom. I don't know.
I don't really care, I just wanna make sure we're on the same page here.
Just nervous, to make sure it's live. I was. We had our first live ABC last week. Yeah,
Cool.
I told everybody. Watch the foul language. Good behavior. Good behavior. Good behavior. Like for a week, I spent sex stuff. I said.
Yeah, I didn't like what we were doing that this week.
It worked, they did.
He's still here, he hasn't got that big job yet.
There's a few other people. Can I have you tell them that? Not you. I wasn't thinking you, but.
How's your back, Dan? All better?
All better.
Adam Nolan, John Gray got back surgery, and 2 days later I saved him out of the gator. I just had a deadly twist on one of the gator. The last time we went, but his was remove bone spurs and stuff. It wasn't surface. So we went down that far. He's got 2 parts. Yeah.
Our oldest son lives in and then Evan is in Zion.
No. I'll check it again.
Snow tomorrow.
Hope not real bad.
Let's go buy a snow thrower and have it. If I go buy one, I guarantee you snow thrower.
That's,
What happened? I
we
bought
bought
a
a
snowmobile.
snow blower. I think it was like 2 years old before I ever got to use it.
I had a snowmobile.
About time to buy a new one.
When I was in high school, I bought a snowmobile because I really wanted one for a long time. For like 2 years, it never snowed.
A snowmobile.
Yeah. So finally one day it snowed, you know, and I was having all kinds of fun. It actually snowed several times that year, and I was trying to get in as much riding as I could. Well, it thawed out and it started melting, and I was riding it and hit a patch of grass and rolled it. tore it all up. It never snowed again. It was fun. I love snowmobile. It was the funnest thing I ever did.
They were
I've been in
fun.
airplanes, trains.
There was one going down my street in town on 10th Street.
I bought one right before the blizzard of '78. That fall, we paid off having that.
So.
I went to a fire one time. I was on the fire department. I rode to a fire because I couldn't truck.
There you go.
They were a lot of fun.
It's this one was pretty fast. Skiing for 40.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Just like I
About
wasn't
60.
racing there until it's 60 mile an hour. I can take it down 63 at night.
How are you?
Got run the cars.
Stop me. I mean, I go 60 mile an hour.
Yeah.
And I can turn on dime.
Yeah.
I was just.
Yeah. The good old days.
It started pretty easy too. It was 3-cylinder and it had a big pull rate. And it was actually pretty easy to start. Headlights were just fun. I saw the grass going and I saw the sideways and I hit the grass and it flipped over and I slipped the windshield, you know, I was bent the bars on it. I was able to ride it home. I sold it after that. I didn't have the money to fix it.
Do I need to move that to the beginning?
Yes.
Okay.
It would climb hills over.
Sure.
The woods and everything was uphill.
Yeah.
Amazing.
They had a lot of power.
Okay.
Comfortable too, really comfortable.
Yeah, we just moved that up.
Okay.
Just say you don't make an agenda revision.
You guys ready to start?
Somebody what?
Start the meeting? Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Say we're 2 minutes early, but.
It's already live.
Oh, yeah, that's what you'll say. Yeah, I agree.
It's okay. So everyone's good then? Okay. Yeah. Alright. Call to order the Vermillion County Council meeting for January 13th. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening. We'll start with roll call. Mr. Costello.
Here.
Mr. Somerville.
Here.
Ms. Brown. Here. Mrs. James, I'm present. Mr. Weir.
Here.
Mr. Bose.
Here.
And Mrs. Curry. Here. We're going to move the first item in new business up to the beginning, the 2025 president and vice president. We'll start the meeting with that, and then we'll go through the rest of the agenda. Any volunteers for president? I nominate Ashley.
I second that motion. Do you accept?
I will accept if no one else wants to. Okay. Thought I'd ask. All right, I have a motion and from Mrs. Furry, a second from Mr. Weir to nominate myself, Ashley James, to retain as president of the council. All those in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say same. All right. I will be president again and vice president now.
I would like to nominate Brenda Ferrari as our vice president of the council.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Brenda, would you be willing to accept that?
I'd be willing to accept that.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Weir, a second from Mr. Bose, for Brenda Furry to be vice president of the Vermillion County Council. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. All right, Brenda will be the vice president.
Hey, Brenda, I'll let you sit by.
I'm good.
Huh? You're good? Okay.
I'm lefty, so
Oh,
it kind of works out over here.
She doesn't
good
know
then.
anybody over there.
If I need to move later or something.
okay.
All right. The next thing on our agenda then will be the approval of minutes. We have two sets of minutes, one from a meeting on December 9th and one from a meeting on December 18th. Are there any additions, corrections, or comments with those? We can approve them separately or together.
We have one for December 9th, for the appointments, the 2025 board appointments. I'm thinking that under Clinton Library Board, it says Karen. I believe it was Kara, K-A-R-A. That's what I had from December meeting, a Kara, not Karen. Is that correct? Like if this was from December,
Right.
then it said.
Oh, you have yours, okay.
Yeah. Where am I looking?
Yeah.
There you go.
Kara.
Kara. Yeah, and it says Karen in our.
Okay. Good catch. Any other corrections that he made? Anything else on this? Okay. We can-
Motion to approve the minutes,
Both sets.
both of them.
Is there a second to approve the minutes?
I second.
I have a motion for Mr. Somerville, a second for Mr. Weir to approve meeting minutes from December 9th and December 18th, 2024. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Minutes are approved. Okay, next we have our monthly treasurer report. Any questions on that?
I do.
Okay.
Under the line 33 on the proof,
Mm-hmm.
it says 37,753,443.48, and to the right of that is 37,752. I believe it's possibly a typo. I'm not sure. I didn't calculate everything there.
That's a $700 difference from when.
Could be, or that could be correct. I mean, for as
Yeah.
all that goes, is it that's exactly 700? I think it is. So it's probably correct. My error.
Yeah, which one is it?
Did we get the interest report?
We don't have one this month. Let's see.
715.043. Just looks not normal, I guess, but.
Yeah, that's what it's the
Yeah,
700.
it's 700. Yep. Okay. My error.
Any other questions? We don't have a quarterly comp time report. They're working on getting it for us. And then, so the next item would be transfer of funds. We do not have any. We also do not have any additions this evening. And we have no old business. We are moving right along. Under new business, we did the president and vice president. The next is the economic development. We would like to schedule a special meeting to discuss economic development. Scott is not available till about the last week or so of January. So is there a date and time that would work for everyone?
Anytime.
Anytime?
Whenever.
So, anytime.
I better double check. I say that, but
What about the 27th then? Is that seem?
Monday?
Yeah, that work. We have 27th. And how about time?
I'm good that week. The only thing I got that week is take trash out.
I'm not available in the evening on the
On
later,
Thursday.
but if we did an afternoon meeting, that would allow people, like, wouldn't have to schedule extra for you guys to be here in the evening again.
Afternoon
That's
works for
fine.
me.
That's fine.
2 o'clock?
I'm pretty available.
2 o'clock's
2
fine.
o'clock?
Okay.
On the 27th?
Yes. 27th at 2 o'clock. And I'll make sure that works with Scott, and then hopefully that works. If not, we'll be in touch. All right. Next is the AOD contract. We had asked for the invoice for the software purchase, and there were questions that had come up regarding some emails that were sent with the new payroll system. Instead of using the computer time system, it looks like we're going back to the paper. And so it was asked to add to the agenda because questions would like to be asked on that.
Why in the world would we go backwards?
Well, and this isn't the invoice, this is just a quote.
So can somebody explain how the payroll system works, I guess, is a quick question. Is it all computerized? Does it require
27th,
Low
2 o'clock.
to do the HR benefit calculation as far as insurance? And then payroll is different, or,
It's all included in the system, in
okay,
the LAO system.
in the LAO system, okay.
It obviously has to get entered in, but once it's entered in, the system processes it.
Okay. So what's changing? It's just how it's being entered? Do we know?
Well, the AOD system would take the time, and it would take it, and then you could pull it from the AOD system. It would be uploaded into the LAO system. So you did not have to manually put that in the system every time.
Does
you
it
pay.
also calculate payroll and everything?
I'm sorry, what?
Do they calculate payroll off of the hours that are entered into the,
Correct,
so that's all done automatically?
correct.
Well, is there anybody here that can tell us why we're going backwards on this? I don't understand. It seems like it's gonna take a lot more labor. Pardon?
That would be a question for the auditor.
Okay. All right, I don't see the auditor.
So this invoice, that is for the current system, but it's not for the whole system.
This is the quote, and if my memory serves me correctly, it was not this much. It was around $43,000. That included setup, 3-time clocks for highway.
It says training here, is that?
Training, oh yeah, we had training, lots of training. We would have a meeting with them weekly.
So what we're looking at approving, or did approve, or looking to approve, is that an additional cost?
This has already been paid.
This has
was
already been paid.
Yeah,
For 2025?
yeah, this was paid in 2024.
For 2025?
Correct.
And
We're gonna lose all that money if we go, I mean, it's,
Correct,
to go back to 75 years ago?
correct.
And no one's here to tell us why.
No.
I don't understand.
That's- Yeah, it doesn't make sense to go backwards.
It don't. And it sounds really convenient to me to have that system.
And
And
by
report
not getting
paperwork.
the report that we needed, the comp report, that, the system would also do that. It would just be a matter of clicking a couple of buttons and running a report.
Has the ordinance already been repealed?
Not to my knowledge. No. I believe the ordinance is still in effect.
So we're kind of in violation of the ordinance at this time.
It would appear so, but I am not the attorney, so, and I don't even want to pretend to be, but, being that it's still in effect, I would. So are these questions then the commissioners need to answer, or the auditor?
Yes, I think so.
Because if they, would they get a refund?
I don't know.
Well, from what I read here just a little bit ago at the bottom of the page, there's 60-day notice that needs to be given. So I guess the other question is, has that notice been given? So I don't know. It says terms, pricing contained in this proposal is for 30 days, but also talks above that about, given, I don't know. I'm not an attorney.
Well, again,
either,
this is
so-
just the quote.
I know it's a quote.
So after the
I
quote
assume
was
there's
accepted,
Right, I assume there's a written notice, because we're already we've already,
yes, there should be an actual invoice.
because we're already using the system, so if we're gonna do away
Yeah, we
with
were
the
using
system.
it.
Yeah, 'cause
last
you,
year.
you used it last year, so if the notice hasn't been given, so we're gonna pay for this thing 60 more days and not use it.
Okay, the LAO system is all inclusive. It is your properties, your accounting system, your payroll system,
Your
your
budgeting
budgeting
system.
system. All those systems are included in that. This is like an extended module to put the time, instead of doing timesheets
Right.
that you have to keep for 99 years. That's the retention schedule for those timesheets. Storage, paper, time. So we went to this system. You don't have to have any of that. It's very minimal paperwork, not a lot of paper. But that is within the yearly contract with LAO for all of those modules that I spoke of. That was paid, to my recollection, January the 3rd. It should have been paid on January the 3rd for the whole year. You pay it, that's just how it is. That's how you do it with these people, with these contracts like this. It's paid for a whole year. And it's discounted at that point in time. I'm gonna approximate the whole thing is around 120-some thousand.
So if the commissioners choose to cancel that contract, we need to ask if there's a refund on that,
Somebody needs to.
and what cost the.
Yeah.
So I just jotted down some, I'll say, drawbacks. It sounds like, as Kelly said, we're going backwards, and if we're doing a manual system, I'm gonna say it's prone to errors. It's time consuming. There's compliance risks. And we're just gonna have to take time to do each one individually. And I think it's an incorrect decision that somebody needs to explain to us why, what decisions or how the decisions were made to revert back to something that's not very efficient and effective for the county. It's important that we move the county forward, especially if we spend and appropriate money, and the money has been spent, and it's a system that's been used for 6 months. And personally, I've heard very few issues. So I'm very concerned about the decision-making ability, I'm gonna say, of our auditor right now. I don't think this is good. We're already seeing that maybe we have a potential reports not available. And we need access to information when we need it, so.
Do the employees keep their own, do they do their own sheets or something? Who does the?
On the paper sheets?
Yeah,
or the-
When you do
yes,
paper,
I'm
yes.
sorry.
Yes.
They do their own?
Well, and the
like-
other thing that the State
Yes.
Board of Accounts told me, because it is in our handbook, one of the other reasons is the timesheet has to state you came and you worked from 8:07 to 4:07, or 8 to 4, 9 to 5. It has to have a beginning time and an ending time. It's not 8 hours, it's not 10 hours, it's not 4 hours, it's not 2 hours. That is how the time has to be kept.
Well,
And it's never been done like that in the past, but it's always been in our handbook.
and I stated September, August, or whatever, when I was asked, I did payroll in the 1980s by hand for 130-ish employees. And retention of records is important, and trying to restore those records and dig those records out if there's issues. It's not productive. So I'm very concerned.
The
So-
system was working fine for us.
How about
We
department
had
heads?
we had some bumps that you have with any new system or new changes in what you're
If it's
doing.
not broke, why fix
Were
it?
there
But
any department heads that particularly liked it or disliked it? Or
I've had people tell me that they like it, and I've had people tell me that they don't like it, but
what were their reasoning?
They had to show up to work on time. Probably.
I disagree.
Somebody did what?
I disagree.
Oh, you disagree with what?
have her come up because you can't hear it on the recording. She needs
Paige,
to
can you
come
come
up.
up, please? Thank you.
I disagree to your statement because my staff does show up on time. They're here before 8.
I didn't
and
say
we leave
anybody
after 4. I know.
specifically.
I didn't like the time clocks. I like the old way of doing it. Maybe it's just because I'm old school and I'm getting older, and as I age, I'm finding it harder to change. The problem with when the new system was implemented is we had to rely on Kylie so much, and Kylie was just stretched in too many different directions. Leanne did the best she could. A lot of times Leanne didn't know the answers, so she would have to wait for Kylie to have a moment. That just turned my nose up against it. And the main reason I don't like it is because of the lack of control, because when we're out in the field, when we take our lunch, we may just drive through McDonald's and grab a cheeseburger, but then we're going right back to work. We're not sitting there taking lunch time. So to try and document that through a computer system is difficult. So I like to just manually do it by hand. I myself did all my employees' timesheets. I myself filled everything out. They didn't put in 8 to 4. I have calendars over in my office that you guys are free to look at, where I wrote down Angie was off 8 hours for sick time, or Joni took 3 hours because she had to go to a doctor, or this week was spaced out because somebody took vacation. I took very good records. And I'm sorry, Kelly, but my girls come to work on time. And I think the
Well, I'm
majority
sorry
of
too, but it's pretty aggravating to invest in this and then you guys decide to just shut it down for no.
I don't have control of that.
I have a question about the McDonald's, what you were stating there. Lunches are included, so you don't have to document when you go to lunch.
If we're out, do you work a straight 8 to 4 when you were here?
About 8 to 8.
But yes.
Did your deputies work 8 to 4 nonstop? Did they take time for lunch?
Part of the time they took lunch, part of the time they didn't.
Most of the time when we're out in the field, I can tell you that we don't take time for lunch. When we're out doing mobile homes or we're doing field, my office is a little bit
But it's in
different than anybody else's.
I understand that, but the handbook states lunches are
The
paid for.
handbook's only good as long as the office holder doesn't have a handbook.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what the handbook says. If I have one, it supersedes that. Am I not
Well, I
right?
didn't, when I was auditor, I did not have a handbook for
Okay.
you.
that's
For
good.
you. I had a court
I'm
handbook.
just telling you, this is just how I feel. Like I say, could just be the old school in me.
So you would document when they were gone, when they left for lunch and when they came back for lunch?
We stay in the office, so we're continuously working. But
Okay.
when we're out in the field, it's a little bit different because it's just continuous work.
Right.
There's no stopping.
Okay.
So you kind of eat on the run.
Yes,
Okay, understand that.
that's what I'm getting, yes.
Okay.
Get a cheeseburger and you're going to the next property.
Are all county employees paid for their lunch?
Yes.
It's a paid
No
lunch
matter the
hour.
department?
I'm sorry?
No matter the department?
Correct.
It's paid lunch hour.
If you're not
It's a paid
clocking out
lunch.
for
Well,
lunch,
doesn't matter
you're
if you're
clocking
working
back
or
in
not.
for
It's
lunch,
paid
what
lunch.
difference does it make?
Yeah.
If
So
you're logging.
overtime,
I
the comp
don't,
time or whatever you want
yes,
to call it.
yes.
You track that also, probably yourself too.
Yes. Yes, I do for Joni.
Okay.
She's the
So if
only
they don't
one
take
who
any
tells me
lunch,
for
can they
it.
leave at 3? If they say I didn't take any lunch, I'm leaving at 3 or
3:30.
whatever.
No.
I don't know.
Can't do that.
3:30.
I try not to do that, no. That just makes it,
So
a little
you're,
bit more difficult to.
you're for this change?
I personally like the old way. It was
Okay.
easier.
Okay,
I felt like it was easier.
I mean, with the
There's
new-
nobody here that knows this new system.
so,
Kylie's gone.
so the old way is prior to, what it was in 2023? Is that the old way, or is the old
Yes.
way?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you feel like the new system would work if you had someone there to help properly train on it? I mean, is the training the issue, and the understanding of it,
Well,
or is it just the system itself?
who controls the system? Who controlled it when you had it? Was it
Should be
Kylie?
payroll
The auditor,
person.
just the office. It was
Office,
between
yeah.
me and Leanne and Kylie. the three of us.
So, when Joni goes to take or Angie goes to take an IAAO class, those classes run from 8 to 5. There's not, when everything's predetermined, there's so many unknowns about this new system. So there's that automatically, now you've got that 1 hour of comp time that's added in. They can't clock in because there's no computer for them to clock in. I don't let them use their cell phones for that.
I mean, yeah, because there's a mobile.
There can be a mobile app, but I mean, there's a very definite line between when you can use county property and when you can't. And so there has to be that same line for personal property. So until the county provides cell phones, I'm not gonna make them download that
I
app.
understand.
So who's gonna clock them in? How can they clock in?
You
Is
can
that-
pre-do that as well.
Is that
If-
something
if
they could
it's
send you an
something that's-
email and say, I had these hours, where you could put it in as being the
Well,
department head?
that was never told us. in the
I'm just
training.
asking, I
Yeah,
don't
I don't know.
There's
And my
gotta be
other
a
question
way.
would be,
There has to be a way.
I always hate to go back to my previous employer, but we had a predefined time ticket. And that predefined time ticket was changed when there was changes that need to be done. So otherwise, all employees started at a start time and ended. Now, if there was exceptions during the day, then sometime during their working hours, either today or tomorrow, before they sent it to their supervisor for approval, then you would make the changes and then you would submit it to your upper supervisor, and that supervisor approves it and then goes to management. So, and then it goes to payroll. So I haven't worked the system, so I don't know,
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
it. But my perception is they're all similar. So do we have a predefined, or you have to enter it daily?
You can do a predefined if you're going to a conference and you're going to be gone.
Yeah, you can do it ahead
You
of
can
time.
do a predefined, yes.
Or vacation.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I understand what you're saying, but I used an electronic
That's
system
just
for
my
10
opinion.
years and it works
And
great.
Kelly's comment, I'm sorry, but it just struck a nerve because
Well-
we are here.
That's just me venting, because I'm pretty upset about all this myself.
So Jennifer,
Yeah,
yay or nay, I guess.
I like it,
Okay,
you know, and if I had an issue to where I couldn't figure something out, I would drive Leanne or Kylie nuts to
Okay.
help me through how to do it,
okay.
you know? And then it's like, okay, that makes sense, I got it. But what I was saying earlier was, you guys were talking about the lunches. Some offices don't close for lunch, some do. You know, so our office, like tax time, we're only working through our lunch.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a given. So that was my thing, you know, I mean, you have those that leave, you have those that stay.
And we need to have some flexibility, but it sounds like with predefined and everything, it is flexible.
Yeah, but I do, I like it. And my staff likes it.
Okay.
And my staff before January 1 liked it, so.
Was it easy to train on
It wasn't hard. I mean, like I said, you know, if we had an issue, there was someone we could call to help us figure it out.
it? Well, I mean,
You
it
know,
looks like
like
most of this room is that
Saturday.
age where,
We got out, got the door
Technology.
off, and Stephanie's like, I forgot to clock out. You know, so went in there before I came in here, I clocked her out at 4 o'clock.
That's all tracked too. I mean, if you make a change or you make an addition or correction, that's all
I'm pretty sure
electronically.
it said something, you know, saying someone did something. so.
Yeah, I mean, you can't change something and no one knows that you didn't do that.
No, there's an
It's-
audit trail in it, and it has been State Board of Account approved. I
I
mean,
think
that's
it's
why.
like called
I picked
digital
one that I did.
exhaust or something like that that shows who did what when.
Yep.
Tim, do you have, yeah,
First of all, I'll say that, and in this change of office, I know that Brenda had made many requests to the incoming auditor to come for training, and that did not happen. So I believe part of the problem here is that the incoming auditor should have been here when was offered that training to come in and be part of that it was not accepted. So number two is I as a commissioner, I think this is something that needs to stay in. I know that they've called for the rescinding of that ordinance. I'm not in agreement with that. I think it brings accountability to everyone, and I think that's something that we owe that to the taxpayers of Vermillion County. Everybody needs to be held accountable for their time. Not saying anybody do anything wrong, but it brings accountability. Years ago, we had in District 2, the one who took care of the books in District 2, and they did it by hand. And so every time they did a journal and they wrote it in here, they had to go deduct it out of here, and they had to take it out of here and move it over here. And this, for us not move forward is a shame. I mean, I know I worked the same place that Rick worked, so every day we came in and filled out our time, we wrote the stuff down. I pulled up, I could see my vacation time, I could see how much I was off, how many days left. All that information was there.
Yep.
And to remove this, I think, is a very disservice to the voters of Vermillion County. We owe that to the voters and the people of Vermillion County to hold everyone accountable. And I think this needs to stay in, and I'll do my best to keep it in place.
So is this issue on the commissioner's next meeting agenda then? When's your next meeting?
Huh?
When is your next meeting?
Wednesday night.
Wednesday? Like this Wednesday?
And the attempt to rescind that ordinance, I said something about it couldn't be rescinded without a majority vote, and I guess they said they don't have to have a majority on it to rescind it. I've always been understood that any ordinance to be passed.
You do when you approve it, but you don't when you unapprove it?
Well, I was told today that I need to go check with a lawyer about this. You know, I'm just saying that the standard procedure that we've had is common, and the ordinance only can be passed on the first time by majority. Everybody has to vote for it.
Correct.
On the first reading, if they want to pass it on the first reading.
Correct.
So if they don't get passed on the first reading, it goes to second reading, but then it can be passed by just a majority, right? But that's what I questioned him. I said, how are you passing this? Because good government, you should always let people, the community, see what's going on and give them a chance to respond. And so that's the thing that we always did as commissioners in the past. I guess they're trying to change it, but anytime something come before us for discussion or an ordinance, our standard procedure was we'll read the ordinance and then everybody in the community can know what's going on. And then they have a chance to respond. But here we're looking at not giving that opportunity to people. And I think that's don't look good in the public eye. I'm very ashamed that people would do something like that.
Okay.
Thank you,
I think this is moving the county forward. Been in prehistoric times, it's unacceptable. And like I said, to have everybody can have access to their time, and it creates a lot of not issues, but make things a lot simpler. I mean, from the auditor standpoint alone, they can access so much stuff just by pushing a button instead of having to go through a bunch of paperwork and stuff. So I just want to let you know where I stand.
What's the cost of going backwards? We've already paid for this. Is it going to cost money to go back to paper?
There
Are
is
we
a
going to need an
cost.
extra employee to manage all that?
I mean, there'll be man hours for sure.
Yeah, there'll be man hours for sure. I can verify that, attest to that.
Thank you, Kevin.
Mr. Ackerman, your department are they having issues with either or time system?
We were on this very, very short period of time. I don't know, Brenda, maybe 6 weeks.
Yeah, they were one of the latter ones to get implemented.
Not a problem.
I haven't seen them have any problems. They've come into my office a couple times.
They had issues, and I think